Welcome to the final video in the Hack and Slash Store series. In this video, we're going to work on our parry system, so we can parry attacks. So I have a bunch of enemies here, and we can parry and counter them, so wait for one attack. We also parry range attack, as you just saw. Yep, and it could hit any enemy that's in the way. Ouch. Ouch. Now we can also counter melee enemy attacks, which is nice. Yeah, so we have solid gameplay now. We have parry system. Nice. So if you guys want the project files, join me on Patreon. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back. In the last video, we worked on our ranged enemies. So we have ranged enemies, they can fire projectiles. And so if he fires... Oh, looks like these enemies can hit me first. If he fires anytime soon, no. And it should be, yep, there it is. Now he fires. He has his own little L relay, whatnot. And so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to work on a parry system for action games. And I also want to be able to parry or deflect the projectile as well. So we need to make a new damage type for it. So in the damage type, search for DT projectile. And this one's going to be middle. You don't need an enum, we just need to check if it's the DT projectile class. That's all we need. So in the blueprints, we open up our enemies into our projectiles, open our base projectile, and the damage type is going to be projectile. Nice. And so what we're going to do is now we're going to open up our player and let's start coding the parry system. So let's make a new event graph called Parry PG. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a new state, call it Parry. Now what we're going to do is make a new input as well. So let's make an input, duplicate one of this, I_Parry, and it's going to be oppressed. So over to our mapping, let's add a new mapping, call it pressed, or select our parry, and I'm going to bind it to the Q key. Bind it to Q key because I don't think my Q does anything. Check. Yep, my Q does nothing. So let's head back over to our player character. Let's clear up some of these tabs, and let's search for I_Parry. And inside triggered, we're going to do a branch, and we're going to make another function like all the others, can parry. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for can attack, and we're going to copy most of this. So let's copy all of this. And so let's delete this. Everything else should stay the same. Let's remove this pin. Now we need to add a new pin here and call it parry. And with that being said, we need to go into all our can functions and add parry to the list. So we cannot attack if we're in the parry state, yada yada yada. Make sure I select the right one. Parry, 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 and then can rage, also same thing. Parry. Nice. So inside our can parry, we're going to make a return node. It's going to return this, and it's going to be a pure function. Head back over to the event graph, pull this function in, and so if we can parry, we want to set state, so set state to parry, and then want to play and a montage, and it's going to be we're going to promote this to a variable, call it parry montage. File everything, and that's pretty much it. We're also going to make a custom event here, and we're going to call it counter. Now what we're going to do is if we counter, we want to set state to attacking, and then we want to perform attack. So play and a montage. Sorry, play and a montage. So play and a montage, and then we'll promote this to a variable as well. And this one's going to be counter montage. Now we might also want to be able to buffer out of our parry. So let's make another custom event and call it save parry. And so what we're gonna do is we can make a function like we did for this or all the other attacks and stuff. If you'd like to do that, feel free, but in my case we can just do this. I can copy all of this, head back to the parry event graph. You can make an event or functions up to you, and we're going to need a variable as well. Parry b is parry save. If it is saved, want to clear variable. We're just going to our parry variable, and then we want to check our state. If we're in the attacking state, we should be able to clear the state. But also, what we also want to do is make sure we're not falling either. Let's head over to our. Actually, that shouldn't be the case. I don't think that'll ever happen. So let's keep it as is. And then here we're going to call Parry, or we should make another custom event here and call it Parry. So we can actually disconnect it and move all this down a little bit. And in the input here, we're going to do a branch. Is current equal to state? If current state equals to attack, we can cancel our attack into a parry. So if our current state is equal to attack, we want to set our parry save to true. And then we want to, if not, we want to call parry. And then here, up here, we're going to call parry. Now in order to play the counter attack, what we're going to do is head over to our damage EG. What we're going to do is we're going to check for iframes first. And if we are not in iframes, we want to do branch. I want to check is current state equal to any. We're going to make an array. And I want to check if we are in the parry state. If we are in the parry state, so we're going to make it not boolean here, so not boolean. So if we're not in the parry state, we take the damage. But if we are in the parry state, we want to play the counter attack. Or counter. Cool. So now let's make the animations for it. So let's head over to our assets, animations, sword animations, animation sequence, hit, block. On here, we're going to create an anim montage. And we'll call am underscore attack or parry. Parry. Spelled that wrong. Parry. Now let's open this sequence up, make sure root motion is enabled. And then we're also going to make sure root motion is enabled on here. And then hit will be the enemy hit reaction to the parry. And with that being said, we also need to do some additional functionality on the hit. So let's do that in a minute, but for now, let's do this. So in the parry, we are also going to add the end sequence. Yep, that entire thing, and then we're going to have a reset state node. Right on that. What we can also do is on here, let's see how much is that. Now if you had the loop, which I didn't import, you can also have a bit of the loop, so it actually looks a bit nicer. But since I didn't add the loop, I'm gonna have to find some sort of alternative, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shorten it, and then I'm gonna pull down the play speed, and then pull another one in. And this one, I'm gonna start like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna have to do if I want to have a bit of delay here. 2.5. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. But if you have the loop, you can use the loop. And what we're gonna also do is set this to 0.1 sinusoidal, and then set this to 0.1 as well, and put that sinusoidal. Okay, so that's good. Now let's open this up and let's plug this in, and let's actually give it a test. So that's kind of slow and I don't like it. Let's open this up. Let's increase this part. Let's give it like a start at 0.1. Give it a speed like 1.25. Maybe 1.5. 5. Yep, so that's maybe better. So let's play it and test it. Yeah, so that's a lot better. So the attack, we won't be able to perform it yet because we didn't make the animal notify state yet. But yeah, this is it. Now before we play the counter attack, actually, there's some things we need to also do. So let's see, play the counter attack, and let's see, we also need to rotate towards the player too, or the hit actor, which we can do in the other graph. So let's actually make the animation first. So let's head up to sequence, attack, parry, counter. Let's create animal montage, am_counter. What I'm also going to do is open up another attack so I can see what animal notifiers I have. Actually, what I could do, duplicate this. I'm going to cut it if I can. Can I cut? Nope, but that's alright. Let's head over to our sequence, parry counter, put that in there, move it. And then we can delete this. And then we can open parry counter. And let's plug this in here. So right around here, it's going to play the weapon, trigger weapon, collision. It's going to be knockback, trails, can end all the way from start to end. Rotation, we're not going to allow any rotation. Rotation target, sure. Soft lock, no, sure, why not? Save light attack, we definitely should. Right around here. Here we save light attack. Reset state at the very end. Can save dodge. Bit further back. Heavy attack even further back. So you like that. So like that. Nice. So now let's open up our damage EG again. So this is where, yep, so that damage EG. Before we play the counter attack, what we want to do is damage causer. We want to set our set actor rotation. And then what we also want to do is call a custom event in our enemy as well. So let's open up our enemies, our base enemy, and let's open the damage as well. So damage EG, another custom event. We're going to call it custom event. We're going to call it parried or stagger, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it parried. And what we're going to do is we're going to set after. Actually, we're going to set state because the player is going to rotate to the enemy. We're set state to disabled, and then we're going to play montage. Or play animal montage. And we're going to make a variable and call it parry stagger montage. Speaking about our counter, let's rename this to counter. am_counter. And I also want to increase this range a little bit, so maybe up to radius 50 to 50 range. Let's open up our light attack. Let's enable root motion. Just make sure we have the animation here. Okay, sorry for jumping back and forth to random stuff, but just wanted to make sure things are set up before we move on. So we have that. Now let's head back to our animation folder. Hit. We have this one, I think. Yep, so this one, we're going to use this one for the enemy. We'll call am_parry stagger. Make sure root motion's enabled for that. And then we're going to call enemy reset state. So enemy reset state. There we go. Nice. So now if we head back to our player, what we're going to do is we're going to get a pure cast, or cast to DP base enemy, or we can actually do a solid cast. Let's do a solid cast actually. So if we do a solid cast, we're going to call the function parried. I want to set active rotation to face the enemy before we play the counterattack. So fine, look at direction. And then the target will be our enemy gag location. Cool. So that should be good. Now let's see. Okay, I think that should be good. Let's test it out. Select our spawners, delete everything. Let's add one enemy just so we can test it out easier. Set it into our spawner. Now that's also what I want to also do is disable some stuff. So once we collide, we also want to do this. I also wanted to make this a do once node as well. So the player should only enter it once. Do once. Okay. Just so we don't see that trace every time. So I'm going to do is wait for him to attack. And then we're going to try to parry him. Yeah, so it works. But he doesn't play that animation because I don't think we plugged it in. So let's plug it in. But we shouldn't plug it in for all our enemies because, for example, our ranged enemy won't be calling this. So what we should actually do is determine if we can be parried. So what we're going to do is have it can be parried. Because certain enemies can be parried. Like a ranged enemy, he's not going to play the same hit reaction. And if a ranged enemy does get parried, he's not going to perform any animation. So we're going to open up our melee enemy and we're going to do can parry, can be parried. We're going to tick that for our melee enemy, and then we should also add the stagger. Nope, we should also add the stagger animation as well. Parry stagger, plug that in. So now that should work. Wait for him to attack. Nice, so the parry system works really well actually. And then we should still be able to combo after that. So let's target this enemy. Yep, so we are still able to actually continue comboing. Now one thing we need to... Interesting, so our crasher doesn't work anymore. Okay, it looks like we got a bit of bugs before you can even work on anything new. So let's fix this one first. Crasher, play from start. Okay, so what we're gonna do is call F9 on here. And let's see, do we find a location that we want to crash? Yeah, so we do. We do crash onto the ground. I don't know why it doesn't work sometimes. So let's check this one more time. Yeah, so it should play. So let's try attacking. Yeah, so I guess it's very situational, I guess. Let me actually try testing it one more time. There's nothing wrong with the code, I can ensure that. But let's see. Maybe it's because we tried parrying. Let's try that again. Let's wait for him to attack. Yeah, hold on. Let's check the parry mechanic. Maybe it's the parry. Let's open parry. Yep, set state parry. If we do, we set state to attack. Huh. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it. I don't think so. So let's try this one more time. I should try attacking him. Oh, okay, I think I know why. And I'm pretty sure it's because our collisions are being off. Okay, so I don't think it's an issue with the code, it's more issue with the collision. So as you can see, that I tried to do the parry, but I tried to do the crasher, and because the enemy's there, I'm thinking yes, I'm colliding with it. So it's not a issue with the code, it's more an issue with collision. So it's not a code issue. See if we can get a parry on again. Yeah, see, so once the enemy dies, we won't have that issue with collision. So it's a collision issue, nothing too serious. So let's get back to what we need to work on. Now I want to be able to deflect or parry projectiles. So here's what we're gonna do. In our damage EG, we are also going to do a check here. So we're also gonna cast the damage type. So we're gonna grab our damage type. We're gonna cast to BP projectile. Damage type main. So we even do. Oh no, we can actually do it. We can actually do it. I'm pretty sure we just have to cast to projectile. Yep, DT projectile. And if it's successful, that means the attack we deflected is a projectile. And what we want to do is we want to make a projectile of our own. And so we will take the hit. So we will take the hit of the. We won't take any of the damage. I don't think we should. Yeah, so we won't take any of the damage, but we will be deflecting we'll be sending a projectile of our own back at the enemy. So let's head over to our blueprints. And let's make a projectile of our own. We can duplicate this one, or actually we have to duplicate the base and call it base player projectile. And here, instead of casting to the player, we're going to delete that and we're going to cast to BP base enemy. And if that is true, I'm going to get state. Make sure get state is not equal to death. If we're not equal to death, then we are going to hit this enemy with a projectile. Yep, so character location is going to be our enemy, and then damage to actor will be our enemy as well. The amount of damage, we can worry about that later. And so let's make a child class of this. So let's right click, child blueprint, call this BP underscore player shot player deflect. And we're gonna modify some of this stuff. Initial speed 1500, max speed 5000, gravity scale 0, and yeah, that should be good. So now we can hit the enemy back. So what we're going to do here back in the player character is we're going to spawn actor. Oh, hold on, spawn actor from class. There you go. And the class is going to be our player projectile. Player deflect projectile. This is where we're going to split the transform. We're going to get actor rotation. Rotation is going to be find look at direction. And start is going to be our actor location. And then our other one will be our enemy's actor location. Now in this case, we also don't want to play the regular counter, because then there's that weird attack to it. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to cut this out, move this out here, and what we're going to do is if we failed, we want to do a counter, but here we're going to also add an input and call it B projectile. And so here we're going to do a select. If we parry the projectile, then we would do a projectile counter, but if it's not, we'll just do a projectile counter. And if it's not a projectile, we'll just do a regular counter. So projectile counter is going to be slightly different. So here in the damage, it's not a projectile, but if it is a projectile, then that's a different story. So we're going to tick that. Our owner is going to be self. not select, self, boom. Okay, so now we need an animation for our other counter. So what we're gonna do is duplicate this one, call it am underscore Parry count projectile counter. This one we're just gonna have the first half of it. So right here, it's only up to like 0.25, so 0.3, 0.5, 0.4. to 0.3, and then we could delete all of this stuff. We don't need a weapon collision, we don't need any of this stuff. Select all this and delete it. We need a trail, but that's it. And then what we can also do is make this blend out more longer or shorter. Now I'm not sure how this will look. This is really short animation, so now let's go to end blocks, and we'll be added to the end. Yeah, no, that doesn't look all that good. Let's try it like this first, and let's see how it looks, and then we'll modify it. Throw counter, and bam. Now let's give this a test. So here, instead of a melee enemy, we're gonna get a ranged enemy. So here we go. Stand a bit away from him, just so if he does do fire projectile, I'll be ready for it. Come on, there you go. So I didn't even play, I don't think. Come on. Ouch. Did I even hit that? Okay, interesting. So it didn't work as I expected it to. DT projectile. So if I check, maybe because we don't have a rotation to it, damage causer would be our owner. So hold on, let's open up our projectile real quick, because I'm pretty sure I didn't set an owner, and then I think that's probably why. So let's open our enemies, projectiles, base projectile. Yeah, so we don't have a damage causer, so owner. Now that we're spawning the projectile from the enemy, it has an owner now. So I think that's the reason why. Come on, fire, 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 your attack. No, I missed it. Okay, weird issue. How many times are you gonna find a position? Oh, so maybe it's because we're at the position he's trying to move at. So maybe let's up that number. Enemies, geometry, range. Let's up this to 550, maybe 100. That's another issue. Maybe 75. Keep at that. Also want to hopefully get this person to fire and attack now. Firing. There you go. So boom. Nice. Did he take damage from that? I don't think he did. So let's fix that. Spawn emitter at location. Why is that an error? I don't get why that is an issue. Because we're just spawning the emitter at the player's location. That shouldn't have an issue. I mean, you did apply the damage. So let's try that one more time. Let's see. Let's just take the first hit. So let's just take the first hit. If we take the damage, we're good. Let's see. Yeah, so we take damage. Effects are played. Good. So now let's try parrying it again. Playing it any second now. Trying to access character. Trying to spawn an emitter. Which one is this one? This one is the base projectile, but we didn't spawn a base projectile, so why is it having an issue? Just open our player character. Let's see. We should be spawning player deflection. BP player deflection, which should be a B base player. Yeah, so how is this an issue? Guess we can just wing it by just checking is valid, I guess. Is valid? Is valid before we check the before we spawn anything. If it's not valid, we destroy anyways. Maybe that'll just fix it. That doesn't make any sense why it has that issue. Now let's see, our projectile player deflect. We're gonna search for damage. Is damage not a yeah, damage is a variable, so why is it not showing? So let's open our player deflection. There it is. Damage, we're gonna set it to 10. So now let's hop back in. Target this dude. I don't like how this targeting system kind of looks. It's hard to really tell if you're taking real hard to see the enemy. Should be firing any second now. Come on, no, you want to do it. Boom. And he did take damage. Nice. And we are getting another issue. Damage causer in our base enemy. Oh. Okay, so inside our other one, so inside this one is our player. So let's search up, let's grab our player projectile. Damage causer is gonna get on it. And there you go. That should fix that issue. Let's try it again. Now the animation looks okay. Still a lot of blending taking place, but it's alright. If you want, you can also find different animations and plug it in, but boom. Nice. Took damage and no errors. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Let's give it one more go. Boom. Oh, he dodged it. And now he has this issue where he likes to do that. Why? Is there really a spot? How many points are you drawing? Which is weird because we're just trying to find a navigatable point. Radius, destination, if we failed. Okay, you know what? If we fail, let's just mark success and just have it wait. I think that's a better approach. That just fixes that issue. So if he does have a location that's just near him, I guess he'll just stay and wait. We can still dodge that, which is good. And I can also still parry, which is nice. No, we missed the parry. Okay, hold on, got this. Fire one more, you won't. Boom, gotcha. Wow, I missed that. This guy runs very fast. Alright, nice. So we have that going for us. So parry system works for both the ranged attack and melee attack. So let's also add a melee enemy in here. Melee enemy. That one. And now let's drop in. I'll just wait for them to attack. Now the projectile system should be able to hit an enemy if it's in the way, so it doesn't have to be the ranged enemy. So if I align it like this. Okay, nice. So if I align the ranged enemy with the melee enemy, we should be able to... Ah, no. They attack way too close to each other. I think that's a good thing. Come on, range. I know you want to attack. Boom. So we can still hit enemy in the way, which is nice. Nice. Okay, now what we want to do is work on that parry buffer system, and it's pretty much the same way we've been doing buffers. We're just gonna get notify state, and then where is it? Save dodge, and then ANS parry save, and we're just gonna Save parry. Save parry. And then we just need to add this to all our attacks, or some of our attacks, not all of them. I'm only gonna add it to my light attacks, just to show you how you can do it. But if you want to add to your other animations, feel free to do so. But for me, just the light attack is good enough. And on state, parry save. I could save the parry, like maybe right on here. Parry save. And then for our last one, parry save. This one we can probably keep it a bit, probably around the same time, so right around here maybe. Now because we also have a parry saved variable, we should also clear it when we reset our state. So let's go to event graph, find our reset combat on landed. That doesn't really never happen. So here you want to save parry, you want to set it to false, just so that that doesn't happen. Okay, so that should be good enough. So now also if we attack and we try to save it, boom. Nice. So now walk in, we can attack our enemy. The range is, the melee decides to attack. See what he does. Now we do. Boom. So the crusher still works. It's just that the rotation is the collision. So we killed our enemies. Nice. Now we can also start to add more. Let's add 3 of each. Let's go crazy a little bit. Nice. We can actually hit multiple enemies. Nice. Boom. Shoot this. Come on, no, y'all want to hit me? Bam. 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 Oh no. Timing wrong. Oh shoot. No. We're getting destroyed. Boop. Boop. Oh. Darn. We should also have some iframes on that attack. So let's open up our animations. So our animation sequence, attack, counter, that's some iframes. So let's enable some iframes. Enable iframes made for the entire thing. Let's just do the entire thing. And that we should do the same for here as well. Up until we reset the state. Boom. Nice. So this should be easier to hit our parries. Boom. Okay. Oh, blop. Ouch, ouch. Guess we can almost pretty much spam it, I guess. But you can try to optimize this in however way you wish. It's good enough for me. I guess it doesn't work all the time by spamming. Let's see what happens if the player dies. Just want to see what happens if the player dies. If the player dies, do they still engage? Will we get issues? Let's see. Okay, the player dies. Will they get issues still? See if one of them attacks. If one of them attack, yep. Okay, our collisions are disabled, so I don't think we're gonna get issues. So let's see. Yep, no issues. So yeah, that marks the end of this video. In fact, this marks the end of this series. I believe we covered a lot of things. We covered AIs, covered parry system, aerial combat, all the other moment jumbos. We pretty much on solid ground. I showed a deflection system for melee attacks and range attacks, so we're pretty solid ground. Still want to, yeah, and our range can still hit us from in the air, so yeah, pretty solid ground. I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.